College of Gujarat State. I feel a sense of pride to be a part of international conference. It's a matter of great pleasure to us that galaxy of global women leadership is with us today. According to our Indian tradition, any type of start is related with faith. Hence, we will start our program with lighting the lamp to the supreme power. Now, I would like to request Honorable President AIWC, Mrs. Sheila Thakreji, and National Secretary Mrs. Kuljit Kaurji by lighting the lamp and inaugural the conference.
And Jyotsnaben Patel will also inaugurate from Anand. Sheila Thakreji, Adhyaksh.
शुभम करोति कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदा
शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते
दीपज्योति
नमोस्तुते दीपज्योति પેલા કાકડીનો સ્ક્રીનશોટ લઈ લો પેલા કાકડીનો સ્ક્રીનશોટ લઈ લો
संध्यादीप नमोस्तुते Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to invite Dr. Honorable Vice President, AIWC, First Lady Mayor of City of Rajkot, Gujarat, Senior Advocate and renowned social leader and guiding force for all of us, a noble and brave lady. Yes, your name is Dr. Bhavna Joshipura. I would like to request Dr. Bhavna Joshipura to deliver the introductory remarks. Dr. Bhavna Joshipura.
Thank you. Esteemed distinguished
Thank you, Meena. Esteemed dignitaries and dear delegates, very good morning all and good evening to my dignitaries, delegates from abroad. First of all, I convey my salutation and greetings to the divinity, grandeur and glory of the superpower and strength of women from the pious land of India, Bharat Mata. As a part of celebration of Women's Day, there have been many programs on various facets of women empowerment in the last fortnight across the globe. I am glad to welcome you all at one such program, that is International Conference under the theme of Women and Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. This is the theme of UN Women on IWD International Women's Day 2021, celebrating Women's Day. As this Women's Day is very much significant and special for all of us, as the entire world is still busy with combating corona through multi-sectarian efforts and on different frontiers. I am proud to mention that India has emerged as a path directional country across the world, across the globe, relating to the coordinated efforts of government machinery through strong leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Community power, NGO involvement, of course, AIWC at large level and entire nation. It is also noteworthy for us to proud that AIWC has contributed significantly in community efforts and welfare activities during the pandemic under the able leadership of National President Sheila Kakreji and General Secretary of AIWC, respected Kuljit Kaurji. During the pandemic, some identical cases of psychosocial cases emerged at different places, especially in the large section of women. We have fully activated the Family Counseling Center in different states of India. It was also most challenging to keep different old age homes free from corona. As a national vice president of the oldest and the most consistently active organization AIWC, I, Dr. Bhavna Joshipura, congratulate and convey my best wishes on International Women's Day. Today, my dear all friends and my seniors, we are fortunate to have the august presence of President of AIWC, Srimati Sheila Kakreji, and General Secretary Kuljit Kaurji, and my Treasurer Rehana Begumji. I feel proud to announce, listen, I feel proud to announce the August presence of Shell Health, who is the chairperson, hi, and chairperson of International Alliance of Women. This is her first program. This is her first program in India after the assumed her responsibility as a chairperson. Let us all give her warm welcome and congratulate her on being the chairperson, Shell Health. Dear Shell, today we are very much thrilled and delighted to see you with us. I would like to express our sincere gratitude towards you for sparing your valuable time at midnight. Although, my friends, it being a midnight in our city, tells in your city it is midnight. You are here with us, participating so enthusiastically and ardently. At the same time, I am very happy when Professor Jaya Dantas, basically an Indian from Bombay, Silaji, and Indian and a profound thinker in the field of education and society in Perth, Australia, has given her consent as a speaker in this program. Jaya ji, so nice of you, so kind of you. I had an opportunity to remain present in CSW 62. Veena ji and Manju ji and the then my all office bearers supported me and had a great fortune to meet the galaxy of women leaders. It is so encouraging and fortunate moment when these two experts have given their permission to remain present here. I congratulate Dr. Rekha Kumari Singh and Faculty of Law and Dr. Minal Rawal for constant support and for their active, profound commitment for making this program grand success. I vandan heartily Jyotsnaben Patel, Managing Trustee of this academic institute, Ramakrishna Institute, for her constant support and to AIWC. Thank you so much and Vandanam Jyotsna ji. Today, the pioneers of AIWC of various states of India are present here. Also are present the researchers, the professors, the representative of NGOs, sociologists, human rights activists, and representatives from the various walks of the society. My dear, there is registration from abroad and India at large level. The year 2021, International Women's Day, is a unique one because we are meeting at a time when the world has witnessed COVID-19 pandemic. The world has been struggling. The vaccination phase is going on. Still, the fright lingers. But I am sure the inferences derived from today's group contemplation will certainly be torch bearer. Thank you so much. Again, thank you, Warren Welker and Dr. Meenal. Go ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhavana ma'am, Josipura ma'am. You have always inspired us. Now I would like to request Srimati Josna ma'am, Honorable Secretary of Sri Ramakrishna Seva Mandal, Anand, Srimati Josnaben K. Patel, who is managing 28 institutions, including from primary education to PhD degree, also running old age home and hospital for the welfare and serve the humanity. She is first female to pursue BE in Charutar region. She has number of recognitions at state and national level and also provide value thorough her contribution in the development of women empowerment every year. We are blessed to have you, ma'am, and request for kind words, ma'am, to deliver formal welcome speech. Welcome, Rekha, ma'am. Ma'am, Josa, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Greet all great women present on this occasion of International Conference. I also thank All India Women's Conference with our host institutes of SRKSN and A.M.P. Government Law College, Rajkot. It is a proud moment for me. This conference brings all together to celebrate constellation of beautiful, talented women leaders from around the globe. I feel privileged to introduce you about Sri Ramakrishna Seva Mandal, popularly known as SRKSM. We began our journey in 1954 with the blessings of late Shri G.S. Patel and his team. SRKSM strongly believes in devotion towards humanity and has been involved with various multidisciplinary, socially beneficial activities since then. SRKSM has earned the trust, fame, and a place in people's heart in this region due to its philanthropic activities. Mandal imparts education from primary to doctorate level in professional and allied courses. Bahujan Hitai, Bahujan Sukhai has always been the motto of SRKSM and has completed successfully 66 years in this venture. Today, the Trust proudly announces to have more than 30 institutions that are always ready to meet with global needs and challenges hand in hand. Several institutes of SRKSM are NEC, NBA, and ISO accredited. The trust has always been the most progressive establishment in Anand, emphasizing on quality education, healthcare, and social work. Many of our SRKSM institutes are managed by female leaders, which emphasizes on women leadership. We all can agree to this. The female brain is naturally wired for long-term strategic vision and community building. Who can be a better planner than us? I would like to express my warm regards and best wishes for this conference and gratitude towards all the guests and speakers from India as well as across the world. At last, I would like to conclude by saying The most beautiful ornament a woman can wear is confidence. This confidence, along with their inherent skills, make us all a leader. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your blessing. Thank you. Now I would like to request National President AIWC, Srimati Sheila Hakreji, to extend formal welcome to Chairperson of IAW International Alliance of Women, Ms. Cheryl Hales, and all the dignitaries in this August gathering. Ma'am, please.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar to one and all who have joined in globally in today's celebrations of International Women's Day under the theme of Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in COVID-19 World. On behalf of All India Women's Conference, Anand College of Legal Studies, Anand, and A.M.P. Government Law College, Rajkot, I welcome all the distinguished guests and speakers and each one of you present here at this forum. My special welcome on behalf of AIWC All India Women's Conference is to the President, National President of IAW, Charles Hales. Congratulations, Madam, to you from all of us, and we welcome you for this in this forum. I welcome Jaya Dantaji also from Australia, and I also welcome everybody who has joined in globally. Hearty welcome, and thank you, Minalji, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
मैम मिनल
मैम आप लोग वॉइस गुड
Thank you very much, ma'am. Women leaders and women's organizations have demonstrated their skills, knowledge, and network to effectively lead in COVID-19 response and recovery efforts. Today, there is more acceptance than ever before that women bring different experiences, perspectives, and skills to the table and make irreplaceable contribution to decisions, policies, and laws, the work better for all. Now, I would like to request our dynamic co-organizer, Dr. Rekha Kumari Singh, in charge Dean, Faculty of Law, Sardar Patel University, Vallabh Vidyanagar, and IC Principal, Anand College of Legal Studies, to introduce Ms. Cheryl Hales, our keynote speaker and guest of honor of today's program. Dr. Rekha Kumari.
Good morning, one and all. I, Dr. Rekha Singh, take an honor to introduce our guest of honor, Ms. Cheryl Hales, Chairperson, International Alliance of Women, Canada. If we talk about her education, in 1989, Cheryl ma'am has completed her B.Ed at McGill University, Canada. And in 1993, her master's in French as a foreign language has completed from France University. She has been an educator in a Canadian public education system as a teacher and administrator with responsibility for student academic achievement. Apart from that, ma'am believes in lifelong learning and went on to earn Ontario Supervisory Officer Certificate in 2011. Ma'am is a commitment to education and women's rights, as had been focused both in her professional and private life. She has dedication to advocacy that create positive change in the world with a distinct emphasis on human rights. In 2016, Cheryl ma'am traveled to Australia on a collaborative exchange program between Ontario Principals Council and the organization Leading Educators Around the Planet. Her action research project, leading numeracy initiative to increase student success, has been used as a model in subsequent exchange program by OPC. In 2018, she has traveled to Sweden and China to learn more about the school system there. Subsequently, she hosted an Australian and Swedish professional as they learned about the Ontario education system. MAM's leadership in building partnership enhances network at the local, national, and international level to influence the change. MAM served as the president of the Canadian Federation of University Women Milton and District as an affiliate to the national organization. She has completed 2 terms of regional directors for Ontario South, overseeing 12 major clubs for Toronto, and Ma'am is elected as the CFUW National Board and served 2 terms as a VP International Relations. I emphasize in 2019 proudly an honor that Ma'am has named one of the 100 most influential women in Canada over 100 years and mentioned as a woman of excellence in the Canadian Parliament in February 2020. Having prepared and led 4 delegations to the United Nations as his skill at networking and accessing that resources to advance feminist agenda. And finally, in 2017, Ma'am was elected as the President Vice President North America for International Alliance for Women. In 2020, Ma'am was elected proudly of IAW to lead the organization for better future. And during this time, Ma'am is restricted not only global travel, but beyond her professional life and her advocacy work. Ma'am, we are really grateful to have you, and you have accepted our invitation, and you are gracing with your esteemed presence in this inaugural session. Ma'am, we are truly blessed, and we request you now to enlighten with your valuable words in this inaugural session. Over to you, Cheryl, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh. I really appreciate your very kind words. You are a blessing. Greetings, distinguished hosts, and in particular to Dr. Joshipura, who extended the invitation. Greetings to our honored guests and the delegates of the session. It is my great honor and pleasure. Thank you to the All India Women's Conference in collaboration with Adnan Law College, Adnan College of Legal Studies, and A.M.P. Government Law College of Rajkot for organizing an international conference on the eve of International Women's Day. Gloria Steinem, world-renowned feminist, journalist, and activist, once stated, "The story of women's struggle for equality belongs to no single feminist nor to any one organization, but to the collective efforts of all who care about human rights." And that is evident here today. With this collaboration, it is very clear that you are committed to human rights and women's rights. It is an honor and a pleasure to be invited to such an inspiring event. Tomorrow, March 8th, will be International Women's Day. It is a day for celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women and girls, and raising awareness of the work left to be done. As you know, March is designated Women's History Month. This gives us a particular opportunity to reflect on the progress made towards achieving gender equality as outlined in the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, and to celebrate the acts of courage and commitment by people who have played extraordinary roles in advancing gender equality in their communities. I start by celebrating my own mother, who is a trained dressmaker. Had she had the opportunity, she could have been a world-famous fashion designer. That's not her only talent. She could have also been a world-famous chef because her food is that good. I celebrate her because she was never less than. Even though there were systemic barriers to her empowerment, she was a mighty woman. I celebrate, and she still is, she's 91 years old. I celebrate my sister-in-law who worked in the banking system and had to train all those men who went on to be her boss every time. She also was confident in her abilities despite systemic barriers. I celebrate every woman in this room, all these beautiful women here, as I know that you have had to deal with your own systemic barriers. I invite everyone to think of a woman in their life they would like to celebrate today. I wonder, what if we expanded our mindfulness to position International Women's Day as a 365-day event? What if celebrating women was a thing we did as a daily practice? Would we think of her when we make decisions for and about her? Would we think of her when we make decisions um, to keep her safe? Would we check to see what she wants to do? Would we check to see where she wants to go? Would we allow her to lead the way to that peaceful place where she feels safe and actualized? The theme of the conference, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World, is germane for the time we're confronted with. It has two parts for serious consideration. Women in Leadership, which I will come back to, and achieving an equal future in a COVID-19 world. Yes, the history of life on the planet now has another distinct time marker, and that is the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the common experience for everyone on the planet over these last 15 months. If before COVID-19 we believed we were different from each other or separate from each other, the pandemic revealed that we are interconnected and, more importantly, that we are responsible for each other's well-being. The realization that we are in this together has shattered the falsehood of separateness and retaught us that we are one world, one people, with the same vulnerabilities in the face of a crisis. This global attack on our person slowed us down long enough to reflect on the potential of our strength in promoting health and well-being and looking after each other. If we are to care for each other lovingly, fairly, justly, there can be no gender disparity. Unfortunately, it was not a surprise that gender-based violence increased during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Women's organizations have been advocating for safe spaces for women, whether it be their home, their workplace, or elsewhere in the community. The question remains, though, when will systems catch up with the fact that women are at greater risk of violence because of disparities in the power construct? This brings us back to women in leadership and what that should look like as we intentionally create an equal and just society. Brad Paisley, an American country music star, released a song called She's a Little Off-Road, and I recommend that you listen to it even at least once. The song She's a Little Off-Road, I agree that we have to be a little off-road in building a future which values women in leadership. Otherwise, we will end up on the same path where we started. Women and girls shouldn't stay in their own lane, the lane that others relegated them to stay in. We have some recommendations for expanding that lane, for ensuring off-roading is protected. To ensure that protection, we must first imagine. Everything starts in the brain. Everything starts with imagination. Let's accelerate change by first imagining that the following are possible. That we can document the reality of women's lives throughout the world. That we can create systems that ensure women are supported in innovation. that we can normalize women in sports and pay professional female athletes the same as their male counterparts, that we can include the feminist perspective in sports initiatives, for example, safe trails for running or biking, and facilities that are violence-free so women can train to their potential, that we can prioritize women's health in research funding, that we can eliminate nutrition poverty to promote healthy bodies, that we can protect the environment to ensure health and well-being, that we can promote women in STEM by beginning with girls in STEM, that we can ensure opportunities for women in the arts, women creatives, to exhibit their work, receive funding, and stand in their own greatness, that we can commit to the UNCSW 65 priority theme of women's full and effective participation and decision-making in public life, as well as the elimination of violence for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls, that we can invest in women in all aspects of her life. Can you imagine a community where women are equally represented in the planning committee meetings and have an equal voice at the table as to what supports, learning, and opportunities are needed for them to thrive? This would revolutionize planning processes and services that communities guarantee for women to feel safe. Engaging women in community leadership is a small step to acting locally while thinking globally. By increasing women's influence locally and nationally, that expands to an international engagement for us to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls globally. All of this is possible if we eliminate gender-based violence. Violence is more than physical harm, which is easy to see. It also includes stealing women's opportunities, diminishing their work, undervaluing their contribution, and silencing them. Women's empowerment is based on an agreement that all persons are created equal and all persons have the right to choose their path to self-actualize. IAW recognizes that International Women's Day is an important entry point to a conversation on gender equality, systemic barriers, and oppression. IAW embraces collective opportunities such as this to celebrate the contributions of women while examining, challenging, and deconstructing systemic barriers within society. I believe that while it is constructive to have a conversation, we need to move beyond dialogue to implement genuine reform, which includes actions that immediately make a difference in the lives of women. The Sustainable Development Goals have some clear guidelines there, as well as the Beijing Platform for Action. Before we can free ourselves from gender oppression, we must acknowledge and recognize its existence. We have an opportunity to learn about ourselves and each other, and where we choose to stand personally and collectively on the journey of gender equality. International Women's Day is an important part of the fight for human rights and equality. Sadly, COVID-19 exacerbated violence against women, but it did highlight the gap in women's leadership in public life. I do want to point out here that in countries such as New Zealand, where women were responsible for the COVID-19 response, that the outcome was better for society than cases where men were in charge. That alone is a compelling argument for the promotion of women in leadership in public life. In closing, I restate that there must be clear commitments and actions to accelerate progress and promote women's enjoyment of their rights as leaders in political, economic, social, and cultural fields. Those actions must include women in every step of the process. I invite you to join me in imagining women going off-road, changing lanes, and expanding their lanes to create their own future. A future that we can support in all its possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Selhan. You have very well explained the importance of International Women's Day, and my national president and secretary are here, and really they are engaging in community leadership, then gender-based violence, then women in parliament, gender equality, collective opportunity, then know about each other. I appreciate at highest level. And you focus sports and fisheries women too. So opportunity for women in arts you have included. So thank you so much for sparing your valuable time at midnight. Yes, Dr. Minal.
Glad to hear health. Thank you very much. And feel more convinced that fight against COVID-19 has shown that there is big role of female in counter-attack as well as preservation. One cannot imagine victory without female support. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I would like to introduce Professor Jaya Dantas, distinguished speaker for today's international conference. Professor Jaya Dantas is Dean International in the Faculty of Health Science and Professor of International Health at Curtin University in Western Australia. Dr. Dantas has worked for 33 years in India, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda and Australia, and has undertaken research in Kosovo, Sri Lanka, Singapore and South Africa. Her expertise is in refugee and migrant health, women's health and working with communities. After completing her SSc in Mumbai, India in 1982, Professor Jaya completed
Ma'am, Minal ma'am, you are muted.
Yes. After completing her SSc in Mumbai, India in 1982, Professor Jaya completed further studies at St. Xavier's College and her master's degree at SNDT Women's University. She moved to Africa in 1990 and worked in Kenya, Uganda and Rwanda, where she established and was head of schools. She moved to Perth, Western Australia in 2000 and completed her PhD in Science Education at Curtin University. Professor Jaya joined the Faculty of Health Science as lecturer at Curtin University, Western Australia in 2003 and was promoted to professor in 2015. She has had leadership roles as a director of graduate studies and is currently Dean International Professor. Jaya won an Australian National Award for University Teaching in 2010. He is a Fellow of the Public Health Association of Australia. Passionate about gender issues, she is currently President of Australian Graduate Women and has been a delegate to the Commission on the Status of Women (CSW) at the United Nations in New York since 2015. I would like to request Professor Jaya Dantas to share your valuable thoughts. Dr. Professor Jaya Dantas. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Minal. Can I share my screen, my PowerPoint?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. You may.
Minal ma'am, request to just mute yourself so that the moment
Yes.
ma'am will speak. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am. It is very much visible, ma'am.
Okay, so I am going to talk in the next 20 minutes or so about women in leadership and achieving an equal future in the COVID-19 world. Yeah? I would like to start by thanking Dr. Bhavna for inviting me. I acknowledge the President of the Indian Association for Indian Women's Council, and Dr. Minal and the other dignitaries who are there in participating today. Yeah? I'd like to begin by reflecting on my journey, my own journey, my life in India, Africa, and then in Australia. But talking about resilience, believing in oneself, and thriving in change, and then concluding by talking about the gendered impacts of COVID 19. What I show here is a picture of my mother, who was my first teacher. My mother was a teacher for 45 years in India. She taught in Mumbai. We grew up with very humble beginnings. You know, the first 4 years of my life, we had no water or electricity in my house, but I had parents who valued education for their three daughters. All of us make a difference now in Australia in education. My sister is an assistant principal in Sydney. I work in a university in Perth, and my youngest sister also lives in Perth. Yeah? I commenced my career in India, and my first message to everyone who's there is to take chances. I began as a food technologist and in industry, and then worked at the SNDT Women's University. It was my first foray into gender issues globally. But SNDT was one of the first institutions in India that was for women. It's over 100 years old, and it actually gave me the foundation for gender issues that I'm passionate about. You know? After India, I moved to Kenya, and there I was flexible. I had a young child in Kenya who was born in Kenya, and I taught at an international school as a primary school teacher. But it was my first experience of HIV and violence. I had been born in a conservative Christian family, Catholic family in Mumbai. You know? The police were having batons. I came to Kenya, and it was my experience to HIV. I'd never heard of HIV till I came to Kenya. I'd never seen the extreme poverty, or even though there are people living in slums, the disparities were more stark, the violence was more stark and more heightened in Kenya. I moved to Uganda in 1993, mid 1993, and I was head of a school. So I used opportunities and challenges, but I realized in Uganda how important it is for us women to be mentors and to be mentoring. And that's what I did in my 4 years. I had a very good mentor in Gulzar Kanji, who came from England to help with the school improvement project. Many of the women had experienced 2 decades of conflict in Uganda. They had strong resilience. They had lost family members to HIV. And I have a photograph right here at the bottom of Aisha on the right-hand side. Aisha came to my school at the beginning of 1994 wanting a job. She was not very educated and lived in abject poverty. I gave her a small job assisting in the early years section of the school. And today she did her Montessori education and works at the American International School in Kampala. And we have kept in touch, even though it's more than 25 years. Yeah? It was in Uganda when there were major global events taking place in the history of the world. The first was the end of apartheid in South Africa. The second was the HIV pandemic in Uganda. The third was the genocide in Rwanda in 1994, where more than 2 million people were uprooted, more than 1 million people killed, and women were disproportionately impacted. Rape was used against impunity during the genocide in Rwanda. I grew passionate about women, children, education, and health, because I think you teach a woman, you teach a village, you teach a community, and you teach a nation. She improves the well-being of her children. I started a school in in Rwanda, called the Green Hills Academy between 1997 and 2000. It was my exposure to refugees, to rebuilding and resilience, the 3 Rs. I worked with teachers who had experienced the genocide, who had hidden in the forest. I'm proud to say that I visited the school in 2007 and 2011, and I met the other head teachers who had taken over from me. But it was also a nation that was healing from the genocide, where so many people had been brutally killed. Today, the school exists and is a bilingual 1,000-student school, English and French. It's an IB school. I moved to Australia to do my PhD in 2000. And my PhD was on rebuilding. It was looking at rebuilding, and I graduated with my PhD in 2003. For me, who came from humble beginnings, it showed that the value of education is uncontested. There's no doubt about it. And that is why, as women leaders, we all have an obligation to work towards empowerment and education of women. I have been involved with research since then. And I did a study on domestic violence in Mumbai of 1,000 women with one of my PhD students, and another study between 2006 and 2011 with HIV women in Mumbai who had been impacted. And then we produced a book called Voices of Resilience, and how these women were resilient, even though they were marginalized, even though they were stigmatized, or even though they faced discrimination if they disclosed that a family member had HIV. I traveled to many countries. I was fortunate enough to travel to 40 countries in the world, some of them that were rebuilding. And in East Timor, with Margie Beck, we wrote a book about rebuilding education and health in a post-conflict country called Timor-Leste. It's a very small country in the northern tip of Australia. It used to be a former colony of Indonesia for more than 25 years. Then in 2009, I wrote a book about the Goenkars in Western Australia. This is the Goan community that I belong to in Western Australia. And there were experiences of domestic violence through my students who lost, through foster children, through refugee and migrant women. And I became the board member of two organizations that work for women. Currently, I'm involved with a project called Empower, and before that, the For a Voice project. And I can share that at a later stage with those that are interested. But these projects work with refugee women and empower refugee women who are resettled in Western Australia. These are some of, now my proud moment is where my students graduate. On the left-hand side is where I received a national award from the Minister of Education, Australian Minister of Education in 2010. All my PhD students who also do multiple projects on gender and health. And it's the importance and being passionate about the work that we do and doing our best. Now we go on to coronavirus. What has happened since December 2019? A pneumonia of unknown cause was detected in Wuhan, China, and was first reported to the WHO country office in China. On 20th of Jan 2020, China mentioned human-to-human transmission. It was declared a public health emergency on 30th of January. On 4th of February, there were only 176 cases worldwide. This was 1 year ago. On the 11th of February, it was called the new coronavirus, COVID-19. On 11th of March, exactly 1 year ago, it was declared a pandemic. So where are we today with the virus? Today, as of the 6th of March 2021, we have 116 million confirmed cases. We have 2.5 million, nearly 2.6 million people who have died, and 192 countries of the world that have cases of COVID-19. India has the second largest number of deaths after the United States in the world. What are the gendered impacts? In every country, women have been hit harder by the impacts of COVID-19. Women are caregivers. They are educators for their children, for students, for sick, the elderly, and for most vulnerable in our communities. UN Women reports that 70% of health, education, and social sector workers around the world are women. And women, this is really important for us in 2021, do more than 3 times more unpaid work than men. This is also particularly worrying time for pregnant women who need access to information and care. The United Nations Family Planning Association notes that during COVID-19, infection control measures needed to be enhanced to protect women during antenatal, neonatal, and postnatal health care. It was also a greater time of care and support for older women who live on their own, especially those over 70 years. It has been, many of the vulnerable throughout the world have been older men and women. Many women in the developing and developed countries, as we all know, work in low-paid, casual, insecure jobs. So the pandemic has disrupted their ability to support their families. And one of the things that has been significant is that many women are not safe in their own homes, as the threat of domestic violence increases due to quarantine and lockdown measures, which have been particularly harsh in some countries. But one thing that India has done, and here I'll share some things that have happened in India. There have been 20,000 self-help groups across 27 Indian states. Can you imagine the collective power of women that have come as foot soldiers in India's fight against COVID-19? So we've had, here is a picture of an apparel park in Palamu in Jharkhand. And India has produced 50 million masks by some 20,000 self-help groups. So women in low-paid jobs are doing a tremendous amount here. The community has come together. Community kitchens run by women, community workers, NGOs, to feed the most vulnerable in times of lockdown. Many a times, these are women who are not paid or paid very little, but they've gone selflessly to help those in their community. The impact of COVID-19, the theme of International Women's Day 2021 is to celebrate the tremendous effort by women and girls around the world in shaping a more equal future and recovery from COVID-19 pandemic. It has highlighted the priority theme of CSW 65, where we need to be full and effective in our participation and decision making. Women stand as frontline of the COVID-19 crisis: healthcare workers, caregivers, community organizers, and some of the most exemplary national leaders. Cheryl made alluded to this in her talk. But here we have the women heads of government in Denmark, in Ethiopia, in Finland, in Germany, in Iceland, in Taiwan, New Zealand, and Slovakia have been widely recognized for their rapidity, divisiveness, and effective national response. But most of all, it's been the compassionate communication of fact-based public health information that people need. However, only in 20 countries out of over 200 countries, women are head of states and government, in spite of them making the majority of frontline workers. There's inadequate representation of women in national and global COVID-19 policy spaces. You can see here nurses and midwives. There are only 3.4 nurses and midwives for 1,000 women in the world. Women employed, but 70% of women are employed in human health activities. Nurses, doctors, health workers, immunizers, delivering vaccination, scientists, about 70% are women. But sexual and reproductive rights have also been impacted. Today in the world, only 78% of women have their births, can give birth by skilled health personnel. So there are more than 22% of the women who don't have any skilled health personnel who attend to them during pregnancy and childbirth. The maternal mortality rate, although diminishing, still we lose more than 200 women per 100,000 live births. And only about a little over 75% of women in the world have access to modern family planning. And that is why we've seen a rise in illegal abortions, which threaten the life of a woman around the world. But one thing that COVID has done, before COVID, 8.9 females and 8.5 males were living in extreme poverty. These who earn less than 50 cents a day. But that has increased during COVID to 9.8 women and 9.4 men. In 2021, this will continue to increase, but it will not go back to the before COVID time. Look at, I just mentioned, heads of government in 2020, 6 heads of government. Women ministers in the world, 21%. Women health ministers, only 24%. Women finance and budget minister, only 30%. Seats held by women in the world, 25%. And elective seat by women local governments, 36%. More than 20% of reported cases of intimate partner violence has happened in the last 12 months. International Women's Day 2021 comes at a difficult time for the world and for gender equality. But it's a perfect time to fight for transformative action and to salute women for gender equality and women's rights. The focus is on women's leadership in all areas where decisions are about issues that affect women's lives. We have seen increased violence. We've seen lost learnings for girls as they drop out of grades, have increased care responsibilities, and we have seen child marriages rise. We are seeing tens of millions more women plunge into extreme poverty as they lose their jobs at a higher rate than men and pay the price for a lack of digital access and skills. But in recent times, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala from Nigeria, the previous finance minister, has taken on the leadership of the World Trade Organization. Kristalina Georgieva from Bulgaria has become the leader of the International Monetary Fund. And Christine Lagarde has become the leader of the European Central Bank. We look forward to much more global achievements. And to end, I would like to again talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, which we have to achieve in the next 9 years, and talk about a global partnership for success. We cannot achieve gender equality or quality education if we do not work together. Climate change is threatening us, so we have to respect and protect our planet. We have to end poverty and hunger, and we have to have peace. Only when we have peace can we work together in partnership. So to conclude, my message and hope is to continue to provide women with avenues and opportunities to further their education, to feel empowered, to have opportunities to build resilience where both men and women are engaged in gender equality, social justice, and to build communities of support. So in the words of the Secretary General of the United Nations, now is the time to reset, to reshape, to rebuild, and to recover better, guided by human rights and human dignity for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jaya ji. We are very glad to have our General Secretary, Kuljit Kaur ji, and she is eminent social worker, but just we had representation to Parliament Committee in which President and Secretary made a suggestion to have Women Safety Week celebration, which is adopted by Parliament Committee. Yes, Dr. Minal, Kuljit ji is a secretary, is a eminent social worker. Not only that, she is a very, very senior leader fighting for women's rights and very much expertise in the law, which is very important, sexual harassment at workplace and domestic violence. Organizing everyday webinar on it. Yes, Dr. Minal.
Okay. Feeling more enlightened after Jayaji's speech, showing a new way of thinking towards COVID fights. Thank you very much for your thoughts, Professor Jayaji. Now I would cordially like to invite Honorable General Secretary of AIWC, Mrs. Kuljit Kaurji, to share her thoughts on the subject. Mrs. Kuljit ji, are you here?
Hello, Kuljit ji. જોડોને મોબાઈલ હમણાં જ કર્યો. હમણાં જ કર્યો જો છેલ્લો ડાયરેક્ટ. ચિંચો જોડાય છે. Kuljit ji is trying to join as is joining the earliest. And meanwhile, Rekha Singh ji, would you present that video message of Dr. Manju Kak? Kuljit ji is just joining us, so let us have a message of Executive Chairperson of Vice Chairman of IIW, Manju Kak, and ex-treasurer of AIWC, Manju Kak.
Yes, ma'am, we are sharing message.
Kuljit ji, have you joined? Kuljit ji?
એને કહ્યું કે 2 મિનિટ પછી તમારું તરત
We have Dr. Manju Kakji pre-recorded messages for this program. Manju Kakji is Executive Vice President first, IAW, and former Treasurer, AIWC. Also writer and scholar.
All of you. I congratulate the organizers of this program, particularly Dr. Bhavna Joshipura and her institute, for furthering the cause of the emancipation of women. We all recognize that this has been a very difficult year for families, for children, for communities, for our society at large. And it is on the shoulders of women like us that we have somehow managed to keep everything afloat, and also because we have recognized what today is important and essential for our lives and what we can do without. So it has been a learning curve for everyone, and women like us have banded together, especially from the All India Women's Conference, where I, as member in charge, have looked after the National Integration, Peace and Communal Harmony program, and we have together emphasized that diversity, our desire to maintain peace, to be mindful of each other, to see that we can see and nurture good relationships, good ideas, and equality amongst all of us. Equality not just of our rights and duties, but of opportunity. So the caregivers, who have been largely women, who who have kept us this 1 year. Let us salute to them and give respect to them for what they have contributed, and let us move forward in the year 2021-22 to make it a meaningful, engaging dialogue, move forward as peace warriors who will now continue our great work to champion the rights of women. Thank you very much. I'm Manju Kak from the All India Women's Conference, New Delhi, and also from the International Alliance of Women, where I'm the Executive Vice President.
Yes, Kuljit ji. Thank you so much, Manju Kak. Yes, Kuljit ji.
Uh, Good afternoon,
Please have
everyone.
your blessings and guidance, General Secretary Kuljit Kaur.
Thank you so much, Bhavna, for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I congratulate you and all the members, those who are joined to discuss such an important topic on International Women's Day. Monday is International Women's Day. Today we are celebrating that. All the great women from great organization, they have joined hands and they are working towards peace and harmony and success. So all through, women are born leaders. Whether there is a problem or there is a smooth running, women, they always take the lead. Always, they are the one who are the flag bearer. So I would like to say that during COVID-19, what are the challenges and how the women at AIWC, they have faced the challenges together. Together we have faced the challenges and we have come out successfully out of that. First, I would like to say that without any financial assistance from the head office, from any other organization, from the government, all our members throughout the country, they have tried to help those who were suffering. In different ways, we have helped. First is that our people, the elderly ladies sitting in the house, they stitched the masks. The masks were distributed to all the needy people. And our women, they distributed clothes. They stitched the clothes, they washed the clothes, they ironed the clothes, and neat and clean clothes because cleanliness was the motto during COVID-19. So they distributed those clothes and they fed the hungry. They cooked the food also and they gave the dry food also. Wherever, whatever was required in that way. And the most important thing I would like to say that during this COVID-19, there were increase in the cases of domestic violence. So our members from short stay home or counselors, while sitting at home, they try to counsel the victim. They try to handle those cases, those who are suffering from domestic violence. And there were young people because there were no shopping, no offices, no get-togethers. So that's why there were a lot of cases about nervous breakdown also. So we uh, organized a committee of the psychiatrists, and those psychiatrists, they did counseling for those nervous breakdown teenagers and youngsters, and they counseled them during this time. And the most important part I would like to say is that during this period, our office was running very well. Very well. There were cases in between, there was some problem, there were positive cases to our staff members. We did pujas also. We celebrated the festivals also in order to spread the positive vibes in the office and all around. We wanted to give the positivity, we wanted to show that we are one and we have to join hands and work together. And this our method worked very well. We have faced the challenges, and I would like to say that there was a very serious challenge during this time when some of our inmates from the working women hostel, they filed a petition in the court on virtual, on this webinar, on our laptop. We handled that case also. There was a virtual meeting with the judge, the honorable judge of High Court, and it went very well. Then there was mediation. There were a lot of meetings on the mediation also. Through mediation, we were able to handle that case also. So during COVID-19, I mean, when the lockdown was lifted, office was running in a natural way, in a proper way. Wherever there was need, we helped the members and we sent our official cards also. Office was running, accounts was running, programs were running, and we were all up to. We have faced this challenge all together, and we conducted about 10 webinars on communal harmony also. So in a way, you can say that because of this COVID-19, our members, they became tech savvy. And we organized almost every day there were webinars on different topics. So due to these webinars brought us together. We could talk to each other, we could see each other, we would interact with each other, express ourselves, and we could share the knowledge also. So that was a very great experience because of COVID-19. Because coming out of the house for the senior members was not possible. Arranging the functions was not possible. Arranging the seminars was not possible. But still, we made out the maximum of this situation. We faced the challenge in a very bold manner. We showed our leadership during this time, and that is how we handle this pandemic. For other countries, it may be a, you can say that these were bad days, but for us, there was a blessing also. Because every day on different important topics, art and culture, about domestic violence, rights of women, national laws, sexual harassment at workplace, communal harmony. And we celebrated the festivals also. In the South, they celebrated festival. They presented culture program through webinar. So there was joy all around. We were feeling so positive. We were feeling so fresh. It was because all the members of AIWC, they have inherent quality of leadership. So nothing can stop us. This COVID-19 has proved that AIWC members, they have the spirit which can never die down. Whatever may be the circumstances, whatever may be the situation, whatever may be the pandemic all around, but AIWC members, they are the flag bearer. They will always move forward. They will always work under all circumstances. So that's what I want to say, that AIWC members, their spirit will never die. They are never under depression or under any anxiety. They are always full of energy, full of force, and they are always working. They are always looking forward how to help those in need. They are always looking forward to help the victim. They are always looking forward to make a better society. They are always looking forward that our women, our children, our men, all of them, they have a better life. In whatever way we can help them, finances cannot stop us, pandemic cannot stop us, COVID cannot stop us. We know how to move forward. We will go on moving and moving and moving. Bhavnaji, this is my message for today, that AIWC, all of us, we are born leaders only. We know how to work. We know how to bring the society forward. And thank you so much, Bhavnaji, for giving me the opportunity and listening to me patiently. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Kuljeet, no
Kuljit
thanks.
ji, no thanks. It is our proud and pleasure to have your blessings and guidance.
Thank you,
And
Bhavna.
you have guided us constantly, awakened us and alarmed us. And even AIWC Central River Leadership, they prepared a report, collective report of and coordinated activities carried out by all branches in combating corona and special issue of Rosni and Shell Health and Jaya ji,
I would
even
like to
each
add,
and every
we have made published
lakhs
a
of
special
masks.
issue.
Thank you
That
so much. Thank
that
you
issue
so much. Yes.
was, Bhavnaji, that special issue was handed over to the member parliament Shri Rakesh Sinha ji when we visited his place. So we are going to give that to Mr. Anand Sharma also. So that's a very precious and prestigious publication of Roshni, the work which has been done by IWC members during COVID-19. Okay, Bhavnaji, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Pranam, Vandanam, Vandanam.
God bless, God bless, God bless.
Thank
રેહાનાજી
you.
છે એક મિનિટ.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your inspiring words.
Thank you. Thank you, Minal.
I think Sheila ji has joined.
બોલો પછી
We are obliged to uh, hear, ma'am. I would like to request Mrs. Sheila Kakreji for their presidential address for this event. Mrs. Sheila ji.
જોડાઈ ગયો છે?
मैं नहीं कर सकती उनका है ना I can't do it you can do it on the occasion of can you hear me
Yeah. Yes,
yeah
ma'am.
on the occasion of International Women's Day celebrations I congratulate all women present here for facing the challenges of life very very strongly. After the World War First, three major national women's organizations were created, namely All India Women's Conference, AIWC, that is, the Women's Indian Association, WIA, and the National Council of Women in India. The AIWC was formed in 1927 and served as the most important national level organization of women throughout the independence movement. In line with its vision, education, empowerment, and emancipation of women towards a holistic development of society, AWC's interventions are in literacy and education, health and family welfare, vocational training, non-conventional and renewable energy, consumer awareness, rural sanitation and water and waste management, disaster management, climate change and environment issues, women's safety, communal harmony and peace, etc. AWC has vast experience in welfare institutional services such as senior citizens home, short stay homes for distressed women, family counseling centers, 24-hour helplines, daycare facilities for street children and the elderly across India, besides running crèches and hostels for working women. AIWC is built on a glorious foundation. It was instrumental in ensuring path-breaking legislative reforms, including universal adult suffrage in India, Sarda Act 1929 on raising the marriage age of girls to 18, Factory and Mines Act 1952, Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, Maternity Benefits Act 1961, and the Devdasi Act in 1982. AIWC continues to engage with parliamentary committees for laws such as POSH, commercial surrogacy. AIWC founded pioneer institutions such as Cancer Research Institute, Chennai, Amrit Kaur Bal Vihar for mentally retarded children, New Delhi, All India Women's Education Fund Association, that is IWFA in New Delhi, and Lady Irwin College, set up by IWFA, that is the first home science college in New Delhi. Save the Children Committee, now Indian Council for Child Welfare, and Family Planning Center, Family Planning Association of India. AIWC has consultative status with the United Nations ECOSOC status and is affiliated to International Alliance of Women, IAW. Yes, Shell, you are here. It is closely associated with leading forums including UNFCCC and International Women's Peace Group. AIWC branches are around 500 in number and membership of about 1 lakh and more. Reach out to the communities through training and awareness programs and projects implementation. The health initiatives include mobile health vans, temporary dispensaries for areas with poor access, programs for women and children who are expectant and nursing mothers, environment protection through renewable energy, water and waste management and sanitation. Ultimately, our work is directed towards changing lives and helping underprivileged women and girls. In recent years, we have seen steady incremental advance gender equality. But still, we have a long way to go. Women and girls are still facing discrimination with regard to education, employment, and access to credit, property, and land. In many regions, women's access to justice and representation in the political, public, and private spheres remains limited. Women continue to be subjected to different forms of violence or discrimination, physical, sexual, psychological, and economical, within and outside their homes. Women leadership has recently attracted much attention since there is a perception that leadership positions should be held by men. However, this tradition, challenged by an increased number of female leaders who have taken on leadership roles within many organizations. Women are gradually making their leadership presence felt in entrepreneurship, administration, education, engineering, health, etc., at regional, national, and global levels. Women are now resolved to break the traditional glass ceiling that barred them from entering leadership positions, even if they possessed requisite skills and talent to occupy them. Women are constantly evolving and reaching new milestones across a wide spectrum of human activities in modern times. Indian women have always been exceptionally talented. They have contributed equally in bettering the society since ancient times. However, their recent success stories have been quite impressive. Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams, Mary Kom, Sania Mirza, Sania Nehwal. The list is endless. The Indian women are stunning the world with their extraordinary talents. They have left men far behind in the field of academic excellence. There is more number of women teachers, even in other fields such as politics, industry, defense, space exploration, and research and development. They have made their presence felt. Recently, first batch of women fighter pilots was commissioned in the Indian Air Force. All these are positive indicators of what they are capable of. Well, the future is really very bright for them. It is a matter of great pride that many women scientists are project leaders at ISRO and DRDO. They have successfully led many missions into space and missile test fires. ISRO has brought up unprecedented laurels to the nation by its successful Mars mission 104 satellites launch. Women such as Ritu Kardial, Deputy Operations Director, Mars Orbiter Mission, Nandini Harinath, Deputy Operations Director, Mars Orbiter, Anuradha TK, Geosat Program Director at ISRO Satellite Center have played pivotal role in the success. So women must come out of their four walls of houses and kitchens and take an active role in the spheres of their choice. Who knows, with their coming out of the four walls of houses is directly related to the establishment of permanent peace, prosperity and progress of the world. All the best to the women leadership. Thank you all. Thank you.
Pranam Vandanam. Thank you so much. My dynamic and energetic President Madam, who have been always supporting us a lot. Uh, there is a message from Rehana ji, uh, and she has expressed all best wishes to this international conference. As some delegation is there at AIWC main office, and my president and secretary are with us. Uh, she has sent us the message. Thank you so much, Rehana ji. And I would like to express, Sel and Jaya, that AIWC Rajkot also worked constantly, consciously, seriously, and sincerely. And we took the care of mere about 18 slums. We have health center and vaccination center too. We are caretaker of 2.5 lakh population of my city. And that way, whenever we did any small thing, it was highly supported by my president and secretary. Again, Shell Health and Jaya Dantas, you remain present over here and to listen my president too. So special thanks for that. Now over to Dr. Menal.
See, we'll see. Uh, Thank you very much, ma'am. Shilaji, ma'am, we are very much delighted and obliged to your informative and inspiring speech. With a special thanks to you, ma'am. Thanks all of you for giving important time in this program. With this,
Ma'am,
I would like to call upon Dr. Rekha Kumari Singh
ma-
for the vote of thanks. Dr. Rekha Kumari.
Thank you so much,
Before
Mr.
that, I'll say all my zonal organizer, all my vice president, AWC, and all MIC member. That is women safety. So because it was message of my president and secretary throughout India, so all 29 states have joined with us. That is salute to AIWC central leadership. Yes, over to Dr. Rekha.
Thank you so much, Bhavna ma'am. Good afternoon to all. Thank you is such a prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt by heart. I feel honored and privileged to get an opportunity to propose vote of thanks on this special occasion on behalf of all the court organization. I would like to thank all the honorable delegates and the invited speakers who have blessed us with their esteemed presence in this inaugural session. I, Dr. Rekha Singh, convey deep regards and hearty thanks to our distinguished Srimati Sheila Kakade ma'am, National President AIWC New Delhi, and Srimati Josnaben Patel, Honorary Secretary Shri Ramakrishna Seva Mandal. They are the source of inspiration and they are supported and guided for all possible manner to organize this seminar, this conference in true sense. Ma'am, we are really truly blessed for your support. With your guidance, we are able to conduct this event. So thank you so much, Sheila ma'am and Srimati Josna ma'am. I would like to thank our beloved Ms. Shirley Hills, Chairperson, International Alliance of Women, for her speech that had radiated the source of energy within us. She took pain despite it is a midnight. So, ma'am, we are really grateful to you. You have incorporated the few concern, that is the mindfulness. The women leadership confronted in this COVID with two equal futures. Ma'am, you have showed the concern about the gender biased violence. And you have said that we have to advocate the violence at home, at workplace, and at community place. And you have rightly mentioned that everything starts from mind. So we have to empower through our mindfulness. Ma'am, your valuable words for inspiring and enhancing the true leadership with truly added value. We will remain grateful to you and we are thankful for being with us today. Thank you so much, Shil ma'am. Today, my words are not enough to express the gratitude to Professor Jaya Dantas, Dean International Faculty of Health Science and Cutting University, Western Australia President, who graced her presence in this event. Ma'am has truly expressed her journey, that is believe in oneself and thrive in change. Ma'am has truly mentioned the message taking chances, taking the opportunity. Ma'am has shown how she has struggled, how she has gone through the changing uh, that is circumstances in Kenya and emerging leadership in Uganda. You express, ma'am, your multiple relationship in different, that is different spaces, and you have empowered the refugees, that is rebuilding and resilient. You have shown unconsidered value of education, and you have studied the research that is on domestic study, and you have also gone through the migrant project 2009 with your empowerment. That is important to work and doing your best, as because of that you have been awarded in 2020 as a national award. Ma'am, you have highlighted the women fronting in during COVID-19 and how, ma'am, like the women are taking the challenges and they have played in all aspects of life, whether it is a politic, whether the social, whether economic. And the collective power of women and community comes together, that will only have a solution in the future goal, gender inequality, to work together and respect, that is the place where we have a peace. So thank you so much, ma'am, with your valuable words and with your kind, that is presence. We are really delighted and looking forward in the future, that is working together as well. Coming to special thanks to Srimati Kuljit Kaur ma'am for her gracious presence. She has wonderfully expressed that the woman should not stop. She must always go and go and go on, go on and go on. And she has put the valuable input about the contribution of COVID. Despite of so many challenges, the women have not stopped. So we are really thankful to you, ma'am, for your kind words. I would also like to thank our special invitee, Dr. Manjuka. Despite ma'am was not able to be physically present, online presence, because of she was traveling in transit, but she has conveyed beautiful message, and she has said that we have a diversity to peace, and we require to nurture the ideas. We require to value and work together in harmony. Ma'am, we are really thankful to you. It is my privilege to thank the Dr. Bhavna Joshipura ma'am, National Vice President AIWC, for her concept coordinating this wonderful event from the first day. From last 1 month, she is putting constantly each and every effort to make this event grand success. Ma'am, despite of your so many commitments, so many schedule, you have made a constant endeavor to make this event grand success. So words are really not enough to thank her for her constant guidance and support for shaping this conference. Ma'am, we are really thankful and grateful to you. I am sincere gratitude to Dr. Meenal Raval ma'am, Principal A.M.P. Government College, for moderating and supporting. It would have not been possible to organize it without her support. Ma'am, you are always rejoicing and giving your energy. So we are really thankful to you for making this event grand success. I would also like to thank Samrat Upadhyay, for he's also put a lot of constant effort for making this event in better perspective. So thank you, Samrat. I am very thankful to entire team, directly and indirectly, those who have put endeavor in through AIWC, Anand Law College,
Ma'am, we can't hear you.
Thank you so much. नहीं नहीं she completed. Thank you. Hello, Rekha ji. Yes, but I thank you, Rekha Singh, for your initiatives and organizing collectively International Women's Day and specific leadership achieving an equal feature in a COVID-19 world. And I salute at high level to Shell Health. It is midnight, 3 o'clock at Canada, and she is with us. Let us salute and respect her with all great honor. And all my dignitaries, Thank you so much, Rekha Singh, for your constant efforts. And
Really
let
sorry,
us
I
have
just
national anthem. Yes, Rekha Kumari, over to you.
can't enough for the involvement of everyone has put a lot of endeavor, and I would like to thank all the media committee for the live like through social media, all the social media coverage. So I'm really thanking to all the media committee, and thank you everyone once again. At the end of the day, I would like to convey thankful to each and every member for making this event grand success. Thank you so much, and gratitude to all.
Congratulations to all.
Actually, this is very large media coverage for organizing this webinar. And today, one leading newspaper, 5 lakhs distributing. So it is large, this our media has coverage it very largely, and really I special thankful to all Rajkot media, state media, and national media as this IAW chairperson coming very first time to India, and yes, of course, All India Women's Conference national leadership too. Thank you. Over to you, Rekha ji and Menal ji.
Thank you so much, all the dignitaries, esteemed members, and all the faculty members, those who have joined through this Google Meet link as well as through the other various social media links. We are really grateful to all the members. And with this, we are going to conclude the session. And I just request Dr. Miran ma'am if she want to convey.
Uh, Ma'am, please.
एक मिनट Shell, would you share what is your experience? Would you like to share?
It is 2:10 a.m. here, but I could not leave because this is such an extraordinary experience.
Great.
It's so wonderful.
Please salute you.
It's so wonderful. I congratulate you on an
This is the
outstanding
power of women
conference.
empowerment, ma'am.
Very, very good. Excellent.
Ma'am, please chant national anthem. Rekha Kumari.
जनगण गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण
गण मंगल
जय
मंगल जय है भारत
भाग्य
भाग्य विधाता।
जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Bye bye.
Thank you
Bye
all.
bye, everybody.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much to all of you. And happy International Women Day to all of you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Minal and Dr.
Today,
Rekha and Dr. Bhavna.
today
Thank you
is
very
birthday
much
of
for inviting
Varunda
me.
I
Desai,
would like to meet you.
founder of our president,
Cheryl, lovely to meet you.
AIWC now. I
Bless
also
you.
pranam
Yes.
to Hargunda Ben, pranam to Hargunda Ben, and let us pray. Saivate Mahamari, Saiva Srushti, Bhavat Praja, Iti Karoti Bhutanam, Saiva Kale Sanatani. Let us come over by Corona.
Yes.
God bless.
Durga
Take
Saptashati.
care. God bless.
Okay.
Take care. Bye
Take
bye,
care.
everyone. Have a great day. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
Good
you,
you.
night to you.
Shell. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
Cheryl. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Jaya.
Bye
Thank you so
bye.
much, everyone.
Bye bye, Kuljit ji,
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Nikki, Urvashi, Arundhati, Avani, all my family counseling centers, counselors, Parul,